complicated attack pattern on a deer to where they'll some of them will be behind it chasing it, some of them will ambush it. You know what I mean? But it can get really complex and complicated. And
Yeah.
it's amazing that they can do that without being able to do with to talk.
But
Just
they get that from learning play, because they'll play when they're young, so they learn all these ways that a dog can be. You know, uh, sneak up, how I can sneak up another dog, or how another dog snuck up on me when I was coming up as a pup, when I was a young pup, right? Like that animals have, most animals have a play phase where they kind of like imprint on these things. If they don't have them, then they'll never, you know. So in a wild, like a wild pack, they would develop its own sort of way and communication just based on its own like geometry and speed and stuff like that.
yeah, usually the smarter the animal, the longer it stays like little, like the longer it plays before it finally turns into an adult.
It's kind of
Like
like,
us,
I guess, I consider it like that all animals and creatures are gaming. They're gaming shit like to live, basically, you know? And like gamers, there, I guess there's some that are not thinkers really. They're just like playing the game, and some of them are like deeper players. I think that exists in nature, but everything is gaming to survive. And I think probably that an octopus, if you could like throw it in an Xbox controller, it could probably kick ass in Halo. I do think that, right?
There's no
it
kicking ass in Halo. You can't kick people's asses.
would be
That's
fun to
bullshit.
teach an animal to play a game. I'd like to see that.
I think you could probably teach a octopus this kind of stuff.
Or if you could teach one to drive a car.
Yeah. They're capable of solving like all these different geometry problems and like squeezing their bodies like through all kinds of crazy stuff. I guess that's not in its own like, yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
they
if you
can learn
just,
to take lids off jars and shit without being taught.
yeah.
Somehow they know how to do that.
Yeah, let's just make a waterproof Xbox controller, drop a tab of acid in there. No, that's inhuman. But you know what I'm saying? Like whatever. It's whatever spur you need. Yeah, I'm sure there's probably like all kinds of ways to interact with it if you just made like a video program, you know, like a game just to interact with the visual properties of how octopus see and stuff like that. Don't you think that'd be cool? I mean, I don't know, man. I wonder why there's not more work done with octopus, but also I guess it's sort of inhumane because of how
I was just imagining instead of having self-driving cars by computer, you just have an octopus in a jar with a like a steering wheel on top of every car.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, you could just have which is it?
Will you say octo shit or octo poop?
They got pretty weird plumbing inside.
Say octopi.
I like, we're lucky that we don't have to compete with squid based like race being hybrids of ourselves that like have 3 hearts and they're like twice as smart with like huge brains. We're so lucky that we don't have to compete with, you know what I'm saying? It's a good situation we're in, I think. As
But why
like
don't we
as
have
the
to
squid,
compete with them if they are so smart?
if they're smart enough, they'd be controlling everything. We wouldn't know what was going on. Squid beings control the universe.
Squidbillies.
I think first couple seasons it was like an art show.
I remember that show. I liked that show. That was funny.
That era of television was like the best thing since Saturday morning cartoon Supercade in 1986, I think. That's saying a lot. For the generation raised on television, that was awesome. Aqua Teen Hunger Force,
Mm-hmm.
C Lab 2021, The Brack Show. Need I say more? These are like the pillars of the earth of and you get no Rick and Morty without these core elements laying it down, man.
Yeah, the ones that was some of the first ones, like those shows that started to come out. I hadn't thought about that, but that is the truth. Those are like the pre-runners to like Rick and Morty and stuff.
We have like used to have something called like a monoculture where like everybody would be updated on the same shit at the same time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody be watching that television show and waiting for like that episode, and everybody gets updated at the same time. That doesn't quite happen the same way now.
I remember back when we used to, you just have to look up through your TV guide to see what was coming on next. I'm talking about in the book, the TV guide book.
Yeah,
Not even
you
on the
need to
TV.
go take your ass to the store and buy yourself the television cheat sheet to just have a chance of knowing when to watch stuff. Other than that, you just like you better glue your ass to the chair. You know, just be
Mhm.
flipping through stuff all the time. For
Because
12 channels of all you can get. Yeah.
sometimes they might advertise what's going to come on next week. But a lot of times you know, never really knew until it came on. You knew what time of day stuff was going to play. You know, like the Cosby's would come on at the same time every night and stuff like that. But
Right. Well, it's like, but 1/10 of your dial was going to be, PBS. And then like, probably 2/10 of it is like local. NBC, CBS, Fox. Which wasn't even Fox at the time, I think, when I remember it. It was just Channel 5. It was just Channel 5 then.
I remember
Just Channel 5.
I don't even know if it's still channel or not. It was out of Chicago. I was trying to think of it, the name of it, and WGN I think was the name of it. I haven't heard. I never hear anybody that remembers that channel.
I think I've seen like cartoon shows that were recorded off WGN in the 80s, television shows, commercials. Like I watched a lot of that stuff. Like a television aficionado. I'm like a teleaficionado. It's kind of. I'm more like a devotee to television, I suppose. Like in the way that like Gregory is like biblical, I think I am to television. I think, or maybe I'm exaggerating. Yeah, movies of the 80s are pretty much the best thing that we have. The 80s are the last great save point in society. And then, like, it wasn't that good. So Then I guess maybe the last great save point was 2015 era. That was pretty good there. Right around there. But then the 80s were just like kind of remembering the 50s. So going back to like mid-century. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I liked. I miss them old days, the '80s and the '90s.
Like the 80s is like the 50s plus neon, in a way. in my mind. And hair dye and stuff like that. Yeah, the 80s was going the beginnings of like MTV. Like, whoa.
Oh yeah,
You're talking
some
about, what was that, like,
MTV.
that's channel 17. Like, that's, wow, that's way up there.
MTV. That was back when MTV was actually like had something to do with music.
It was like all
Is
they
it
did
still
was just,
Does it still exist, MTV?
you would have been watching
Yeah.
like a Van Halen video, and then a Huey Lewis in the News video, and then a Billy Joel video. You know what I mean? Like forever. And then Cyndi Lauper. And you know what I mean? They just had this like label basically throwing all these acts together, or, you know, different managers and stuff, different agencies throwing their talent at, you know, trying to take a stab at this video format, trying to like sell a bunch of records. So, and then, you know, you get like Run DMC and Aerosmith kind of collaborating and stuff like that. Now we're all walking this way, talking this way. You know what I mean? So that's how it all got to be this, like, I guess where we're at in 2025, the idea of persona, celebrity, musical celebrity, whatever, pop artistry, it all comes out of that, which itself is all really echoed off of the 1950s booms of like Elvis Presley and old rock and roll royalty or something like that. But all this market seems to be like suspiciously tied to strange monies. You know what I mean? Like there's a way to kind of pump up certain things using advertising, using distribution that makes for the spreading of certain kinds of like music easier. You know, makes a sale of it more profitable, keeps the money in a circle. You know, it doesn't let other people into it, and then therefore, yeah, becomes exclusionary and just a way to rule the airwaves. Then you privatize the airwaves, and then you, yeah, it's just now it sucks. The only good stations are the ones that need to beg for money. But radio should be more free. I give it. So really, but what we have in return for that is the ability to internet. So that's probably even a better trade, I guess, than radioing, you know? Like if there was like a public band that you could just use to radio on, that would be cool too. I guess there are like, you know, certain bands you can, but like, you know, I've been reminiscing too much. Sorry if
No, you're fine.
I got to reload on. Yeah, but imagine long after the apocalypse, you know, the people, they figure out how to turn the radios back on. They find that somebody knows how to broadcast. Who is that guy? That guy? He can say whatever he wants. If nobody else has the ability to broadcast, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if you have like the highest tower, you've got the longest range, probably, right? I theorize about like early radio, you know, because people like always be talking in this Bible context about like voice of God stuff or like the one voice, just like every language and, you know, all that stuff. So how you can't actually maintain a singular dialect anyway, right? You think about it, even if you began all cultures at the same period of time and you just placed them in their areas, they would all fuck up. they would all change in their own weird ways anyway. Like that would just happen.
Yeah, I
They
agree.
would-
I think so.
They would become regionalized. Like we're all we have regional access and stuff like that, but we know because we have communication over distance. So that helps to keep things cohesive. If you don't have that, then things can get pretty radically different over time, and then over such a distance too. You know. The idea of a mono language would really be in support of the idea that there would be like some type of communication over distance that could facilitate that.
Do you think the technology would ever get to the point to where the whole world would start talking one language and one accent?
Oh, temporary restart.
Where is everybody today? It's unusual that nobody in here this time of morning and talking.
Like I kind of wonder, like, is there some kind of trick that we can use, like the sun, to bounce a signal? You know what I mean? That if like, you know,
Yes, radar.
we're like both, like you and me, you know what I mean? Like we're both looking at the sun, point some kind of beamy thing at the sun, and we both like, I don't know, is there a way to send and receive something? You know.
I mean, radio waves do work, so radar, but probably not you and me,
Like
because you
how
need
can we get
kind of
like
a highly focused and strong beam.
what is, so it's a, but okay, so we need like a smaller wave signal to penetrate through what is near to us, right? So if we just said that we had something like a 1-inch signal, we should be able to like bounce that, probably, right? It should bounce, it should not be able to permeate the first layer of density, right? So we should be able to use like a point to point bounce, if I knew your heading correctly or something like that.
Penetrating with the old 1-incher.
So you can definitely do that with the moon. This is regular Earth Moon Earth radio communication. So you can have a directional antenna when you point it. So you're in the US, I think. So if my moon is kind of basically going down in the west, I could point an antenna to the moon, send a signal, and you should then see it. I think basically when the moon is straight above you or so.
Yeah.
6
And this is
hours, I
because
think,
like,
it should be the difference. You could receive it.
because you're actually never really going the distance to that point, you know, like, but over a certain range, you should be able to kind of like be able to just reflect back down to another point of known distance. So like if you had two cities apart, you know, there's like an optimum angle to be hitting the moon at a certain time, like a certain geometry is available to hit that and then bounce it back down. Like if we were two cities, you know what I mean, far apart.
Yeah. So
And
what you definitely can do, you can kind of ping the moon, because if you send a signal there and it bounces back, you get a specific timing for this round trip. Like you do a ping and you receive your own ping back. But at the same time, someone else can also receive that ping and answers basically directly. So you get a round trip time from me to the moon, to the person, from the person back to the moon, and to me. So if you have a defined like receive response time or a known receive response time at that person's location, you can then start measuring, is the moon closer to one person or not? So if I do a ping and it takes 3 seconds, and you do a ping and it takes 3 seconds, we know basically that the moon has the same distance from you to the moon and from me to the moon. So it's basically in the middle of us. And then we can do the round trip to verify that it should be roughly double the time.
Okay.
And I mean, we could also just do maybe a direct signal with stratospheric or ionospheric reflection or so. So directly having a signal from, I don't know if you can go from Europe to the US, if this is possible with this ionospheric, how do you say, reflections or refraction?
I think I've heard stuff, but it might have been off a relay. But I've heard shortwave stuff that's English.
I think like 30 megahertz or stuff like that. So between 10 and 40 megahertz is being reflected by the ionosphere if you have the right angle.
Whatever the case. Yeah, there's certainly like long distance transmissions are possible, but all I mean is like with crude equipment or even Egyptian level equipment, right? Because I know that I can make a charge because I can make a Baghdad battery, so I can have a load, right? I can have a load I could pulse at least. So if I had something to change that into,
no, you have no oscillator. You may have a charge. So with the available metals back at that time,
I just need like a wheel rotating with contact points or something like that. I could create like an oscillation of some sort, right?
Okay, but that would, so it would be typically a square signal. So because you have contact and no contact, because I would say like construct in that time like a potentiometer that has increasing and decreasing resistance would already be very tricky. I mean, you could do it with metal thickness or so, and
I guess
and
we're
stuff
sort
like
of
that.
talking earlier about just like ground current being able to kind of like relay signal that's powered like in a telegraph where the most of the signal is.
But the thing is, if you can create a Baghdad battery, if you have that kind of technology that you can create a Baghdad battery and actually get power out of that Baghdad battery, it would be much easier to actually create an electric generator, like an AC generator with just a kind of a magnet and a coil, because coil winding wouldn't be that problematic. So by rotating that thing, you would get kind of an AC current.
I guess
and that
we don't really
has
know
then
what the heck.
rotational speed. But at the same time, you have to build something to receive that
I don't
signal.
know what the presumption of the Baghdad battery electrolytes are. I don't know what the presumption of that is, but like I'm sure that it can vary a lot. Like because they think it might be like, oh yeah, they used like lemons. You know, they squeezed a bunch of lemons and they put it in there. That was how they make their electrolyte. They might say they'd be like, it's seawater. I don't know what concoction it is, but I know that it's basically it's unlimited as to what it could have been. You know, it could have been something exotic. It could have been something normal. You know, but
So as far
sort
as
of unknown composition to me.
As far as I read about that, it could theoretically be a chemical battery. But if that would be a chemical battery, it would create something like around 1 volt, which is really low. And with that thing, you cannot do.
Don't say stuff like that. Why would you say that? Because you don't know what the electrolyte is, and you know.
No, but you know the materials in there, and like if you have, for example, copper, and I don't know what was in there as well. You cannot create more than 1 volt back in at that time. Even nowadays with lithium batteries and so on, which are super high power batteries, you can create 3 volt or a little bit more. So for a single cell battery, that's basically the chemical limit. So
and then you're also, I guess you're thinking also that they'd be like used solo, like as if they were a portable energy source, but that is an assumption. They could have been very well part of a bank of batteries
Yeah,
that was able to like
just wanted
create
to
the
say you can.
complementary charges necessary to actually do some work, you know what I mean? And then you keep it there. Now you're going to
Sure.
add some, now you could have like a little flywheel, a little some kind of pump, like, or you can have whatever to kind of keep energy moving through the system, and you can always tap that amount, so you can really do some
But
stuff.
okay, but I give you that, and if we could, if that would create 1 volt of charge, we could then put multiple in series to get a higher voltage, like 12 volt or something like this, which you can actually do a little bit. But the ampere, so the current that would flow there would be pretty low because this battery has a very high internal resistance. So you
Yeah,
would
but
also have to put a lot of them in parallel to actually increase the current. So of course that's all possible. So you create, for example, 10 in series and then 20, 30 in parallel. So you could actually get some energy out of it.
Well,
yeah,
But
you
then you
might be
still
trying
have,
to.
wait a second, wait a second, don't interrupt, please. But then you still have DC current. So to do actually stuff with DC current, like creating, for example, letting a motor run or so, it's not that easy.
Well, I don't think you'd
Or
be trying to
powering
make a
anything
motor
else.
run. I think you could just do like metal plating. What would be
Yes,
a good use for it?
yes.
metal plating, you
So-
would only need about like 3 volts and a half amp or something like that.
Yes,
For,
true. That's
or you could
not a big
even do it
problem. The
really,
question is, what are you doing with the metal plating?
you could do it even lower than that, and
And
then
on a
it would take
sword
way more time. But
or
yeah,
You
armor?
could also do electrolysis, so you could create hydrogen and oxygen and burn it afterwards.
right.
Hmm.
You could also make a light bulb out of hydrogen as long as it had no oxygen with it. It will, and it's like sealed. A glass vessel filled
But
with hydrogen will be a light bulb, effectively.
no, if you just
It's an
run
explosive
power
light
through a
bulb.
light,
If you broke it, it would explode, but it would normally not explode. You could have it, and it could just have a filament that's made
wait.
out of
How are you
carbon.
creating that? You're just letting power run through the hydrogen. You have to
I,
create a hydrogen plasma or what?
let's say I can make glass bubbles. Can I
Yeah,
make a bulb? Okay, and then I take like a
fill it with pure hydrogen, and then
a, a carbonized wick, throw it in there, and that's going to be my filament. And then I fill it with hydrogen just from the one side of the anode from electrolysis. And I know I got my hydrogen. Now I can seal that vessel up and put some current through it. I don't know what the minimum voltage is going to be necessary here to produce a little bit of flashy flash, but I should be able to see some kind of light in there, and it won't explode because
why
there's no oxygen. Go ahead.
why do you think you will see a light? You mean because it's getting so hot or what?
No, because it's like It's like
It's
a
getting
you can make a
hot in
hydrogen bulb,
here.
just like you can make a halogen bulb, just like you can
No,
you
halogen.
can.
No, you cannot. Halogen is a how do you say a noble gas,
You can make a
and
hydrogen lamp
hydrogen is
And
highly
noble.
reactive. You
with
can you
yeah,
have
no, oh, right, with what? Oxygen, right? So in the presence of
no
oxygen, that's a
carbon,
problem.
carbon as well. So all everything that is kind of oil is all carbon and hydrogen. So
Carbon-based
it's these
bipeds.
I don't know. It's what like an Edison bulb's made out of. I figured like it's probably pretty humble material. But whatever the case is, there's something that is not going to react with the hydrogen when you put some current through it. Hydrogen will act as a gas, and you could make a lamp out of it. That's all.
so for example, methane is one carbon atom and four hydrogen atoms. So if you would have, for example, a carbon rod in there that you put just hydrogen there and you heat it a little bit, you will create methane because the hydrogen will directly start reacting with the carbon. You cannot create a light bulb with that. Not at least not with carbon because these materials are highly reactive to each other.
Yeah, I guess if you want to claim that, go ahead. It's fine.
Oh yeah. Well, how do you know that atoms exist?
Because you can test for it. You can
About
create.
what about electrons?
Yeah, electrons do exist, and you can also prove that they have mass.
I don't know. I've just seen people like make fucking hydrogen light bulbs, so I don't know what the fuck, whatever.
I have to Google for that, but or search for that in the internet,
like
but
YouTube. I
I've
don't
never
even know
heard
if like
that. I don't say it's wrong. I just say like with carbon it wouldn't work, but I can check for it. Sure. Yeah, but a CRT monitor, for example, if electrons would just be a wave, and it would just be like an energy
Like this
kind of
guy.
pressure wave or something like this, a CRT monitor wouldn't work.
I remember a while
Because
ago somebody made that same exact argument that a CRT television proves that electrons exist, but they got shot
yes,
down and said no.
no, they do prove that that electrons are particles and they have mass.
It's been about 4 hours ago
So
when that
because
guy was having the argument.
I can also tell you, because from the electron gun at the back of the
Broke.
TV,
Oh,
you're emitting something. You're emitting some kind of energy
Is it
from
particles
that
essentially
gun.
like from a fundamental like theoretical standpoint because we can control it
Now,
down to
can you hear me out? Then I think you could be able to understand it.
I don't want to.
That's also fine. That's an honest opinion.
Did you say, can we give you an out? What did you say?
What?
I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood. It sounded like you said, can you give me an out? And you can understand it.
No,
Hear
if
me
you
out.
hear me out, you could
Oh,
be able
hear
to
you out.
understand.
I thought you said give you an out. I got you.
No. I mean, the thing is, if we put power on this cathode ray tube, something is going from the back of that tube to the front, because the front is it's positively charged. The back is negatively charged, and we see some electric energy flowing through this vacuum. So now you could create this kind of white dot in the middle of the thing at the front, because there's where a white, let's say a noise in the middle, because there where this energy is hitting. So far, we just have proven that we can kind of shoot energy from the back to the front, because it hits actually the front and it starts lighting up. How we now can prove that electrons actually have mass is because we can put a magnetic field to the like a vertical one and a horizontal one, and with these two magnetic fields we can control the direction of that particle. And because the particle is not instantly, or the beam is not instantly going to the magnetic positive field, but it's only bending. So we actually can verify the path of these electrons in that tube, and we can apply a stronger magnetic field to get it more bent, and a weaker magnetic field to get it less bent, and another one it bends in the other direction. So this is basically the definition of inertia. So we can prove that electrons or this energy has inertia, and stuff that has inertia must have mass as well. So these two properties are directly tied together. So inertia is one property of mass.
Yeah, but you're forgetting it could be the ancient, not ancient, but the lost different type of electricity that was discovered like 100 years ago, but
different time.
Different type of electricity. It's not this normal type of electricity. It's different, and it was discovered by Nikola Tesla, but only he ever understood
how different is it, and what in which
I don't
kind of
know.
different?
Apparently, it's pretty different.
It's well different enough to win any argument effectively.
Okay, it's different,
it's as different as you can imagine. Yeah.
Okay, but you don't know why or how.
Only he might have known that.
All right. Okay. Not, I must say, I'm not convinced.
Well, that's on you, brother.
I'm a kind of hater over here. Shout out to the San Jose Sharks.
And yet you use Tesla's technology daily.
Can you repeat that, Grok?
Sure. Baltimore, 1815.
What is it, Voldemort?
Dope.
How many Horcruxes? Computer, GPS, me dude. Horcrux number 1.
Computer, transmit $2 to snooze.
Horcrux. A girlfriend like it one.
I think
It's a Harry
Grok
Potter
said
thing.
that there
don't
used
know
to be lamps in the 1800s that used to be filled with hydrogen gas, like the other guy was saying. And
hydrogen gas. I don't know, man. Like, why not? Methane seems so much easier. You can make it from decomposing stuff. We want hydrogen, pure hydrogen. We got to make it from electrolysis, I think. You know what I'm saying? That's a
Yeah,
bitch.
Yes.
You can capture methane right out of the ground.
But
Yeah,
you can
but I
also
mean,
just have some rotting lentils.
If you have electrical
that's true,
energy,
too.
Bullshit.
creating hydrogen
Rotting
is
lentils.
way
Have you some
easier.
bullshit? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You can
Yeah,
just
we could light the
use
night with the bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, and we could talk about it and that we bullshitting about it. We're not going to do that here. Let's continue on with this bullshit.
So I mean,
Yeah.
creating hydrogen is for me and you, creating hydrogen is way easier than getting methane. I mean, except of going to a supermarket and just buy it.
Take a quarter ounce of methane. Thanks.
So, but hydrogen lamps do exist, but these are plasma lamps. These are discharging lamps. They are not like you have just not a filament there which starts glowing. So you need a very high voltage for those.
Like you'll just get like methane produced like if you take vegetable matter, any kind of vegetation, and then throw it in some water and then enclose it. It'll start to methane.
Sure, you can also just fart
Methane,
in a
yeah.
glass. You get methane, but the thing is, it's not pure
unsustainable.
methane.
Don't fart in a glass. You fart in a jar.
You cannot.
Fart in
You
a
can.
jar.
It's not sustainable. Or you need a one-way check valve. And this is, I don't know. It's not a good way. We can just take material and put it somewhere. It makes its own gravy. It turns it to its own methane, bro. Like
you're
we can light a lamp with it reliably because we know at a rate it's always going to be fucking off. You know, turn it into more gas at its own reasonable rate because that's how the methane.
Isn't your asshole a one-way check valve?
Oh, I wish. No, wait. No, I mean, yeah. Wait, what's a one-way check valve? Wait, I said that first. Anyway, but like, don't you think they could have just based it off of the methane situation? It's easier to do than electrolysis. Now you got to get electricity. You got to store the electricity. You got to make it. Like, where's that all coming from? You think some kind of harmonic resonance field? Maybe.
But burning stuff is the thing that we did for many years, and also like we have gas lamps in the cities. There was a full depending on where you are, but there is a whole net. For example, still in Prague, I think there is a whole net with gas tubes, and they have basically these gas street lamps. They are running on just burning gas or like illuminated gas in these lamps. And the problem is, the delivery of gas is way more critical than the delivery of electrical energy. Electrical energy is way more safe. It doesn't explode typically, and it cannot leak. I mean, it can leak, but it's not leaking just by pressure or stuff like that. So,
but it's
electrical
not a lot of light
energy
anyway.
has a lot of advantages compared to fossil fuels.
For luminance, for lux, yeah.
Only if you're using the standard electricity. If you use that newfangled lost electricity, it's a lot more dangerous.
So, but also, if you think about its materials and technology too, so like if it was a contest of who's gonna make the most light with the materials you're talking about, water, electricity, You know what I mean? We could get our electrolysis, we get our hydrogen and oxygen. From there, I can create a single like oxy hydrogen. So I just create like a mono with a 1-to-1, you know, and then I burn that. If I burn a piece of limestone, it will burn so brightly that you will need some sunglasses.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you take
I
like
work. I work at a limestone mine where we literally cut out limestone, turn into gravel.
That's my my sleeper pick for the philosopher's stone. I actually believe that because you could create like a low uh output HHO, basically tune it down to I believe it's 1-to-1, and then you get, or it may just be like it's either way,
Two
and then
to
you get
one.
your limes. No, I'm saying to get this limestone to kick out, and
Ah.
it basically because of the construction of it, it has the material property that it shits a lot of light out. For like a little chip of it will blow a lot of light out. And now if you had that, it's a little bit of energy, but then that allows you to like do work all night if you want to make a lamp that doesn't make smoke. You know what I mean? It's all pretty cool stuff. You know, but they used it for the original limelight. This is a limelight, so you can look up the patents to how this would go. And you know, it would have been explosive and dangerous. Yeah,
And
but
why they
also
say in the limelight? Did they like used to use that in the movies to
yeah.
light the film?
And
You
then
know, the movies.
I was grew up thinking like it was lime and color because it was a shitty light bulb because it's an early thing. Why don't they still use it? But that's not the case. They used real lime from limestone.
Huh. I did not know that.
Yeah, calcium. Yeah.
Learn something new
So-
every day.
Quick climb.
So if you had like a layer of calcium and it was like, you know, right next to some like burning ass like hydrogen, I think it would shit light out the same way too. It'd be interesting to try to do I always want to build one of those refractor boxes for the whatever light spectroscopy and get the color lines. Cool ass color lines, man. But it'd be interesting to compare limelight to sunlight and see where we're off.
Yeah, I mean it is really bright, but it's not very efficient for a very long time. So I mean, typically at home you don't need that kind of much light where the lime lights were used back in the days, and for like theater spots and stuff like that.
Well, basically, what would happen is, I mean, it's a humble material, so you could make it effectively from eggshells. The calcium part of it for the lime.
Yeah.
So you could do that, and it's reconstitutable after you burn the light bulb out, so you never really have to run out, or you could always make more.
Yeah, I mean, you basically you heat up this the lime to 2,400 degrees Celsius, and then it starts glowing super bright. So it's not really burning away. It's a temperature that you heat it up with a hydrogen oxygen
Once the
flame.
ether is fluxing through
If you need the
However,
eggs,
but-
you
but
get
the thing
the
is-
eggs from chickens, and the chickens you can feed them with lentils, and the lentils you need the bullshit for the
And
lentils.
the thing is, you need a hydrogen flame for that, or some kind of gas flame directed to the lime, and then you get a light or a brighter light that you would just get with that flame. That's the whole thing. It's still a gas,
but it's
Flame
a,
me
still a
up,
gas
Johnny.
flame.
you don't need a lot of gas for it, and it's a lot different than trying to use like a flame itself in combustion to light up a whole area. This you
True,
have a
because-
material. The material itself generates light when
But-
you put it under these conditions differently than other materials. You know, like I can't
But
take any.
similar things are used in the normal gas street lamps. They are not using just the gas. Wait a second. They are not using just the gas lamp. The gas lamp is basically like invisible, but there is a kind of a sock that is coated with calcium, and then it's this kind of sock is burned like a sock that you put on your feet, like some kind of
Now we're talking
fabric
about
that is
socks. Name
Yeah.
me another element besides but mineral that you find that's besides limestone that you can do this light trick where you're getting a lot more luminance than of the energy that you're putting in for combustion.
I would have to look it up, but still,
Hickory.
the thing is, it stays basically a gas powered light. I mean, yes, it has more, it's emitting more light than the gas flame itself, but that is how the gas lamps work back in the time.
Fuck.
That's
bro.
always how they work. They heat up this kind of catalyst material that then emits light.
So this is like you need 2 canisters of gas in this whole thing to really have a portable limelight, or you need it to be a battery powered like HHO producing machine that like I don't know. We're just not doing
Yeah,
that.
but that makes absolutely no sense because how to create wait a second, how to create or creating oxygen and hydrogen is a very like inefficient way of producing burning material. At least if you look for the usable electrical energy, I think you get 30% energy out of it. So basically, you put 100% electrical energy in, you get then the electrolysis. You have 30% then chemical energy, and when you put that again together, you have again heat as a loss in product if you just burn it, or if you use it in a hydrogen cell, you have other losses. But if you just have electrical energy and you put it into an LED, you have way more light than you would use with this hydrogen gas and the limelight.
Yeah, but like, how are you making ancient ass liquid crystal stuff? How are you making your LED
You're still
lights?
talking
Yeah.
about the
Very
Egyptians?
carefully.
Like I put most of this in the framework of like what or early ass radio, early ass lights,
Okay.
early ass like electricity. You know what I mean? Like we were
Okay, so
talking earlier
you're still talking. Okay,
about
you're
that.
still talking
Sorry.
about what's
Yeah.
that battery could be used
If you're
for.
trying to make a
Okay.
case like what's more efficient, yeah, I'm not trying to say that it's more well, but you need a whole supply chain. You need specialized things to even make the machines to harvest the crystal for your LED lights. You know what I mean? You know this precursor material that's got to be a certain kind of screened out and centrifuged and shit like that for purity and all this stuff.
I'm with you. I get you. I get
So
you.
you need a
I'm
huge
with you.
supply
I
chain to do so.
understand this.
That's hidden. You know what I mean? Otherwise,
Yeah.
I could find me some limestone or chicken shells. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I can make my prime material. That's all I need. Then I need what? Water? Okay, that's plentiful. You know what I mean? Some charge. You know, come on, get at me. I'm making light before you are. You need a whole supply chain and some PhDs
No,
with
all
fucking
good, all good.
microscopes.
I wasn't back in the ancient Egypt or whatever or Baghdad battery situation. So, okay,
Right.
you were now talking about a use case for DC power. So yes, creating hydrogen oxygen could be a use case. However, also there the chemical batteries, so the amount of energy that is stored in that chemical battery to get a very low amount of hydrogen and oxygen until the battery dies is in a stupid relation to each other.
It's unknown to whether it's a liquid chemical battery. Could have been some kind of gel battery. You know, they could have used some kind of crazy throw some potassium
Yeah,
flake up in there, make shit real spicy. You know what I mean? They
gel
might have
and
had some. They could have they could have very well had some other rare earths men throw up in there. They could have made batteries. There could have been thorium in those things, but you would think that there'd be some kind of radiation signature on it. Maybe I don't know, but maybe it wouldn't imprint on that stuff, or they'd find a residue. But hey, anyway, what is a residue at all in there? You know, could they have like had very fine carbons that basically were like a graphene or a graphite? You know what I mean? Like because if you have like really small carbon, it's going to basically be something that can hold a charge. So I don't know, man. Like there's a lot to how the internals of the battery are made that make that assert for the performance of the cell, no matter the size or shape, or if it's made out of clay or whatever. It could still be made out of humble materials that perform pretty well. I
so
said that
but
good. Yeah. Hell yeah.
the thing is
Said it good.
they had there was a copper cylinder and an iron rod
All right.
in that Baghdad battery. So with copper and iron, you of course need an electrolyte, but the electrolyte itself does not it influences the efficiency of that battery, but it does not kind of make it suddenly a superpower battery. So the electrolyte is not the thing that actually stores the energy. It has to dissolve or loosen electrons from one material to the other, and you're consuming one material during that time. But still, even with
The main thing that fucks
other known
ancient power
chemical,
up. Go ahead.
yeah.
The
Go
main
ahead.
thing that helps us make a lot of power, and the main thing that fucks up why ancient power probably be tough, is because they don't have like transformers that can or I don't know. I guess maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but like we don't have proof that they did. Like have any understanding how to like kind of harness the charges and like multiply them and will them to particulars.
Yeah, we even haven't any proof that they had actual cables, wires. I mean, they had kind of how do you say here if you have a gold necklace or stuff like that. So they used metal as kind of things that look nice, but we have not seen any kind of switches, any kind of wires, and so on. So we have a complete lack of any evidence that they used this battery for anything other than just it was a terracotta pot with iron and copper inside, and no residue found, no applications found whatsoever. So
Well, what do you know about making wire out of nothing, sir? You know what, sir? What the fuck bullshit you could make from fucking wire? You could make yourself some fucking carbon and make you a wire. Okay, you don't need no fucking fancy goddamn copper. All right,
how do
you
you
take
how do
some.
you create carbon?
Good use of a double negative.
I'll do what I can.
Yeah, but how would you
in
produce
the
carbon?
bush, right? Well, like okay, so in the bush,
Guys,
like it's
check out the live stream text. I
it's
put your
conductive.
hydrogen or your water stove in it. The principle.
Just burnt wood would be like a part of an electrolyte. Like from there, you could get from wood ash like a potassium's. That's going to make it conductive too. Makes it a more conductive electrolyte. They could have used fluid to move current. Like a stream of an electrolyte would also channel that an amount of power, maybe enough to like run a light bulb interior or something. Sure. I'm not saying they're running like electric chainsaws,
Battery powered. You take the
It's
Baghdad battery
electrolytes.
pot, you put it on the back, like
You-
where normally you
No,
snap your battery on. You just put your pot on it.
you would need like a 300-pound ceramic backpack full of Baghdad batteries to like run a weed edger. It's not worth it.
You have to have 3 friends walk around behind you all the time.
I told you I'm trying to get the sidewalk here. Pharaoh's gonna have my ass. It doesn't make sense for some of the usage of electric would have been, I guess, different, or more integral, like if it was to, like, you could still have a regular like oil lamp that would be just as available to like, be doing work at night and stuff too. I think basically if you could do work at night, you can keep the night's watch, right? If you can make like a little lamp, you can keep the night's watch. Otherwise, it's somebody like stoking the fire, the campfire, or something like that. This is how humans be for like thousands of years. Why we're not really meant to go sleep through the entire night. We really periodically wake up as we get older. Hell yeah, my echo coming through your speakers, and we get this kind of way. I think we start being able to plan at night a little bit better. Start being able to like work on things or read things or learn at night. You know what I mean? Do things instead of just falling asleep. Because it's like I think you get in like sort of a circadian rhythm anyway. Like if you don't have natural, like if you don't have like night lights you can turn on, that you eventually, when the sun goes down, you're ready to go, just like fall out. That's kind of what I experience. So I think in order for man to kind of like one up his shit, he would have had to at least had some nightlights for starters. And I don't mean like a campfire. Talking about inside your Minecraft house, you got a little lamp. You know what I'm saying? Like you're safe from the zombies and stuff.
Creepers.
It's just at the minimum for keeping like this your family safe. You're keeping your society safe. You know what I mean? But it is why like
Yeah, stay away
when we
from
wake up in the middle of the night, it
gas.
is.
It's dangerous. It blows up. Ooh.
But like I don't know. Frequently, like I don't sleep through the whole night. But like I kind of nap until somewhere around 3 o'clock and wake up. I'll do some shit for a couple hours, and then I'll be like, I think I need another nap. And then I kind of after that, now I'm ready to have a whole crazy day. You know. But a lot of times that's how I break it up. It's more natural too. Like we're more evolved to do that, I guess, over the years. You know what I mean? It's more only since the advent of like electric lights that we have the ability to like, binge watch a whole season of whatever Friends or something.
Rick and Morty.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, you get through probably 2 seasons before you fall out. I don't know. Yeah. Like, stay up and read a book. You know what I mean? Read a book and learn something. Whatever.
A book. What's that?
I don't know. Or just like look at the X's you put on the wall for whatever reason. Maybe that's where we're at here. But we need to start somewhere. As far as trying to evolve, like I don't know, evolution doesn't have to necessarily be biological. To be as effective as the evolution of technique and the evolution of knowledge and the perfection of that and the coalescing of these kinds of learnings. You know what I mean? Develop them into sciences, maths, like systems. You know what I mean? That are that can be translated across many different subject matters and languages and contexts and stuff like that. That's where we're winning. Where ants are they're fucking up. Even if they had little hands to be doing stuff, they have no language to like write stuff down or like port it out. They got to like communicate through pheromones. You know what I mean? If that was our only means of communication, we'd also be islands like this. So it's a cool thing that humans can all do this. But it's another thing that like I guess we're overpowered that way, but also we're underpowered in the ability to naturally form into working things that are all for the same good goal, which probably at the same time is the reason why we still are around. Is like we can't make absolute changes because we will eventually fragment and fight our own selves. So I don't know. Yeah, it's all a crazy ass balance. That was a lot of ground I covered right there. Hey, you like that?
I liked it. I wrote it all down.
All right. It's like I'm gonna diagram this shit.
Almost fell asleep.
Did you? Almost. It's one half of your the Holland crew, but you're not. You're from Dutchland. You're from Hamletville. I forget.
Belgium.
Denmark.
Hamletville.
Denmark. He's from Denmark. See,
Belgium.
Zygnact is from. You're from Belgium. Okay.
But you might want to look at that water stove. I posted in the live stream text. Might explain a lot to you.
Water stove. What you got?
It's nothing
water
more than
stove.
electrolyzing.
Oh yeah, sure.
How does a water stove work?
You gotta have some. What do you have to have? If it's okay, yeah. I think if you break it down to where it's just HO, like oxyhydrogen, then it's not gonna melt through most metals. But if it's HHO, it'll do that thing where You notice that, like the HHO
Just
stuff, like
watch
with
it.
metal, it's really, it cuts right through it.
Nature is pretty simple once you see it.
But like the 2-to-1, if it's HHO or HO, they'll burn at different temperatures, and they have somewhat different properties, I believe, like chemically.
Yeah, but not the bang, just an ignition.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like, it's like stepping along a sort of one technique of technology might be that we can separate water and hydrogen. Next might be that we can kind of create a mixture of this as we like. Maybe the third is that if one of them in a natural form, if just Brown's gas itself will just like make a big boomy sound, like a thunderstruck, just happen or something like that. If it basically does that,
It
then
doesn't.
oh, you don't think that HHO makes a pop, like a boomy pop sound?
If you watch the video I posted in the live stream chat, you will see what it does when you
Oh,
light
thanks.
it up.
I'll let you inform my knowledge with your YouTube video. Sounds good to me. Anyway, but because Brown's
Many
gas,
people that do this, and if you look at it, what the jet engine doesn't throw out that
sorry, you got
vapor that they
metal
used to
parts.
do, uh, and they have machines these days that catch that vapor out of the sky, and when you combine all those techniques in a jet engine and use that gas stove as a throttle to blow that gas straight in your engine, you don't even need kerosene.
It's that newfangled gas. Goes with that newfangled electricity.
Brown's gas has a very explosive pop to it. So,
I'm just aggravating her. I can't remember your name, but I'm just picking on her a little bit. Don't take me serious.
it's all right.
Yeah, but they use the technology already. Only they let you pay for gasoline still, and people still don't see it because they used to have a vapor tail behind their butt all the time. These days, when those jet engines fly off, no vapor tail. You should watch your skies a little bit more often.
You should shut the fuck up a little more often.
Can't handle the truth?